What is up, guys? We are back, Peach Fuzz, episode 23. We are on a new streaming platform, so bear with us if there's any technical difficulties. I don't think there will be, but it looks like it's going live here shortly. Let's see. Double check here real quick.
All right, working here. We're just figuring it out. Like, this will be our technical difficulties here. Just get this out of the way.
We're good. All right, yeah, we're good to go. We are live. It might be on YouTube too, but obviously most of the guys watch on Twitter anyways. But what is up? We are back. Bit of a hiatus. We had 2 stops on this campus tour series. We didn't really have, obviously we had a lot to talk about from those events, but we wanted to kind of wait on a live. It just felt right going live, especially with how much we did in the spring season. So we wanted to wait, have a big kind of fall finale, if you will, with our last couple fall events, and then as we go into the quote-unquote off-season, if we want to call it that, for a few short weeks. But yeah, anyways, we are back. Ian, how we doing?
Good, man. I mean, off-season's just those words kind of stress me out already. I'm already, like, having FOMO of not being at the field. Like, we left, was it last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago? We had to come back and look for something on the field. And I was like walking through the outfield, and I was like, oh man, this is like the last time I'm gonna be on the field for like a month and a half, and like I don't know how I really feel about that after being there seemingly every day for the last 11 months. But yeah, good, man. Glad to be back. Glad to be live. We enjoy this. I know you guys like the live shows as well, so we like to get back here. We're gonna start bringing these lives back a little bit more often here in the off season. We have 2029 rankings dropping today, so we thought that would be a good time to come back as well, alongside talking about the fall events. And we think we're going to go live every other rankings update here the next few weeks. So we thought that was a good reason. Gives us something fun to talk about, and we know you guys love ranking season anyway. So yeah, man, just stoked to be back here to talk some baseball.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good call with the rankings drop. It's kind of a weird rankings drop, just with seeing a lot of new guys across the fall, and then a lot of guys that put in some work since the summer. Honestly, it's not a ton of time, but there's definitely some guys that made some big strides in those short couple months. But it's a great opportunity for us to see new faces as we roll into the preseason. It's almost like the pre of the preseason to an extent. It's guys, new guys that hopped on our radar from whether it be a fall tournament or a showcase. Those quite actually a good many guys that got added into these next ranking drops that we got to see at our fall events.
Yeah.
And honestly, like probably our best fall to date, just kind of consistency wise. We kept the campus tour rolling, but last year with all the renovations, we didn't get to do a ton of them. But this year we really got to kind of the core 4, and then hopefully going to add a couple more next year. But yeah, let's jump right into the fall. I know we talked about North Georgia and Georgia Southern on the last episode, but then we jumped over to Georgia on November 8th for the campus tour there, and man, really good group.
Yeah, it was good from the start. All the way through. We had a good little 5 kids show up for the Rising Stars event. Who we kind of got them mixed in as well. I've really got to see things, get alongside the high schoolers and really see how an event runs. But just jumping right off with Brian Johnson Jr. This is 6'3", 190 pounds, 14 years old, 3 months. Like the definition of something I say a lot, but what it looks like. Like he walked in the dugout. I was doing height and weight for guys, and he's like said his name. I'm like scrolling through my sheet, and I'm
high school sheet.
Yeah, I'm a high school sheet, and I'm like, I don't know where you're at, man. Like I have everybody, and he's like 20, 30, and I said, oh, okay. I'm obviously not the largest human. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, it just caught me off guard. Then he stepped in the box and just consistently just put balls off the left field wall. It's got plenty of length to the zone. He's got feel for the barrel. It's great hand speed already. I really gets the front foot down early and just lets the hands work through the zone. It was just a pretty advanced round of BP for that age. Like he was the first kid to jump in the box. He was ready to hit from the start. I think he had a max carry of 370 on the day. He had a couple balls over 95. I think he maxed out 98 on the day as well. It was just really impressive to see a body like that at that age, and with the production he showed in BP and the ceiling he can tap into. I think he's gonna be one of the more highly sought after, I guess you can say, 8th graders. Which is crazy for me to say, but yeah. I mean, it was an awesome way to start off the event.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and him being in North Atlanta too, we're going to get to see a lot of him in that whole system with the guys that they've had coming through, and Coach Ponte. Fun fact: I just found out it was Ponte. I always thought it was Plant because I knew somebody's last name Plant, and I called him and it said Ponte on his voicemail. So I thought that was funny, but. Good group of guys they had going in North Atlanta, and he's just going to be another piece to the puzzle here in the next year. But keeping it on the Rising Stars, I was actually just going back through our Rising Stars preseason All-State from this past, or not year, but in March of this year. And Silas Baker was actually at that event, and we got to see him at the Georgia campus tour as well, and put in a lot of work in a short, 5-6 month time. And looked really good, swinging it from the left side of the plate. And just looking here, like on his TrackMan numbers, like we went from a max distance of 240 back in March to a max distance of 309. EVs was up over 6 miles an hour. His average EV went from 66.9 to 80.2, which is a really, really big jump. Obviously, just growing has a big factor in that, but I thought mechanically as well, the swing was much better, a lot more fluid. So he was another one that stood out in that small but strong 20-30 group.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped in the box that day and was ready to hit for pitch one. I don't think he didn't take a pitch. It was barrels throughout. He was using the whole field. And then he finished the day hopping over into the bullpen and showing 5 pitches, living in the mid-70s. Last pitch of the day was up to 77 from the left side. I mean, it was just a really good performance there. And I think it was East Coweta, I believe.
Sonoraville. Sonoraville.
I knew it was one that we hadn't seen a ton of last year, but okay. But yeah, they've had some guys over the last year, obviously with Griffin Long among them. But yeah, it was really awesome to see from Silas, and it's a bright future there for Sonoraville, who's, like as I mentioned, he's been producing guys for the last few years and has something to look forward to over the next couple of years with Baker.
Yeah, it's fall's a good time for these 20-30 group. We obviously have our big March preseason All-State event for those guys, and where we get to see a lot of the up-and-coming names. A lot of the 29s that we just released a ton on today were in that same group this past March, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But jumping into the high school guys, this was a really, really fun group. Kind of from top to bottom. We had 2 games we played after the showcase portion of the event. And it was kind of stacked throughout. Kicking off, I mean, you got to go. Ryan Johansson was probably the most familiar name. We had quite a few familiar names at this event, but Ryan Johansson for me was really the first one. And we know what Ryan can do. He hits and hits and hits. Hit over 400 in the high school season. Played third base for Buford, and we'll probably do a lot of the same this year. But he's gotten more physical. He's put on some good weight, and really looked the part, and then no surprise, goes 3 for 3, 4 for 4 in gameplay, couple backside knocks, works deeps, counts. He had a really good AB with who was it? Maybe Maddox. Was Maddox? It was a good arm on the mound, whoever it was, and he just kept fighting off, and ends up winning it on a backside single. But he's an uncommitted 27 that I think is going to make somebody really happy, whether that be at the mid-major level or sneak in somewhere bigger than that. But guys like that just continue to perform is always kind of a breath of fresh air. Like, what you're going to get from him, and you know what you're going to get on the field as well from Ryan. And
I really don't think I've ever seen Ryan chase in any setting. The approach is as good as you're going to get in the class. He's going to fight like you mentioned, he's going to take his pitches, he's going to work at bats, he's going to fight off good pitching, he's going to shoot balls backside. He's not going to really sell out for power. He's going to just continue to do the little things to get on base. And, I mean, that's what plays. It's something that we really value high here in our group. So it's been something we're excited to see. And just sticking with that 100 or 1,000% on the day, Trey Wyndham, another guy who went 4 for 4 on the day while looking the part in every facet of the day. I think he was up to 99.7 a few times in BP. We had joked about it after that. I was like, just had to eat an Uncrustable before the round or anything, because bumping 99.7 twice frustrated him. He wanted that 100, and then he was up to 91 from the outfield as well. Really moved in center field as well. I was out there taking video for pitching that day out in center, and we were talking most of the day. Made fun of me for how short I was at one point, so that really made. Actually, the comment was, "You're taller than I thought I was," and many of you know me already. Not very tall of a human, so I don't know how I should have took that, but it was all in fun. It was just an awesome day from Trey. We haven't seen him a ton, have dealt with some injuries Was an uncommitted 26 up until, let's talk about a few hours ago, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But it was just an impressive day. He came out there, was ready to hit, was ready to perform, wanted to come in those lights at Foley Field and show out, and exactly what he did, and it was just awesome to see that.
Yeah, and he was one that we got glimpses of, the last really 2-3 years. He played in Lake Point a lot, being a Jackets guy, and kind of disappeared. I didn't forget about him, but I remember seeing North Forsyth in the spring this past year. I was like, kind of thought, where was he at? And ended up hurting his back. Kind of talking to him at the event, I didn't even realize that. And flash forward to the fall tournaments, I was videoing one of those night games, and he goes off. I think hits a pull side double off the wall, and maybe a couple more hits in one of those fall tournaments. And I think he had a credit or something. Ended up jumping in the Georgia event, and it ended up paying off for him. It's just one of those testaments, like we talked about. That's why we do it. Uncommitted senior coming to a fall event, kind of sort of stressing. He didn't really have anything on the table, and I was like, let us see it in this setting, so we have some metrics to back up what we see, which goes a lot farther than metrics do. But yeah. Anyways, congrats to him committing to Young Harris. Great spot up there in the old Conference Carolinas, and they got the ball rolling up there. And I think he'll be a good fit for that group. Runs really well too. Didn't get to run at Georgia, but he also runs really well. So excited to see. Guy. Yeah, excited to see what he does this spring with North Forsyth.
Big get for Corley and the staff there with Wyndham. I think there's a ton of untapped potential there that he could really just get into a program and a system and explode. And I think we saw.
Yeah, and he put the weight he put on, especially like being injured, came back 20 pounds.
He looked like a tooled up center fielder. Like it's just the type of bodies and profiles you just don't miss on very often. So it was good to see that, and excited for him, his future.
Awesome day for him. Jumping into a new name for us that prime example of kind of what fall events can do is 2029 Buck Shepard.
Oh, yeah.
And talk about another one. He was 6'1", 6'2", looked like a senior walking out there, but 2029 at West Lawrence, and he peppered the ball from the left side pretty much all across the park, had a hit in gameplay. I think he might have had another really loud fly out, but perfect example of South Georgia kid coming up, maybe wanted to come to an event of ours, maybe wanted to check out Georgia, who knows, but gets added into this 29 rankings update. And, he's definitely one that we're going to have circled now to kind of check in on at West Lawrence. I think he'll have a shot to get in the mix. We got to see Dugan Malone at Southern. He's 28 at West Lawrence, but I think he'll have a shot to place him first. Moves really well, too, for his size. Played some third base as well. But I think he can end up being a corner guy for those guys as a freshman. I think he's really going to hit, especially for some power.
Yeah, talking about the more power bats, a guy that we've seen a little bit, but I wouldn't say he would be a brand new name for us, and that's Casper Emery. A guy I saw a couple times last year at Clark Central when I went out there and saw, I believe, Oconee County and playing against them as well. And then I saw him a little bit with Southeast Sox in the fall and the summer as well at Lake Point, but had a really good day, man. Was top 5 across the board at the plate in BP, average EV, max distance, was finding barrels throughout. Went backside double in game, or backside triple, I believe. Center fielder was chasing the ball down.
Wow.
Just like, this guy's good, are the words he's spoken as he's chasing this ball down to the center. But it was loud. Everything that came off the bat was loud. Like, was ready to hit, was ready to perform. Can fill up multiple positions. I think he threw well from the outfield. Looked good taking infield actions as well. Just a really good performance in his backyard. He wanted to come out and show out, and it was just good to see that from I believe 2027. 2027. Going to be poised for a huge role for that team next year. They were a really young team last season, so I think they bring back a ton of guys. We saw Shane Walls at this event as well. It's going to be a big piece for them. And I think Clark Central has a chance to make some noise in a winnable region over there in the Oconee County area.
Yeah, and speaking of Oconee County, keeping on that trend and kind of another uncommitted senior kind of spotlight shout out, and that's Walker Duvall. You got to see him, I think, in Oconee County. Whenever you went to see him, I think Avery might have saw him once or twice, but first time I really got to see him, and he was one of the last hitters of the day, just being a lefty, but really like the swing from the left side. It's like 5'8", 5'9", pretty built, athletic frame, smooth swing. I think he was in the 90s for his EVs. Good bat speed, outfield velo, getting close to 80, but he's a guy that is, I'm assuming was kind of an everyday guy for Oconee County.
Yeah.
I think I remember Avery saying, but But yeah, another uncommitted senior that had a really good day at a park, in his backyard essentially as well.
Yeah, and I think he's got a chance to really blow up this year. I think he tracked balls and took routes in center field extremely well. He's going to have a chance to really move into that center field role next year for Oconee County with Cole Johnson, obviously now at the University of Georgia. So that kind of leaves a hole there for him to slide over and take over center field. And I think Duval can really have a chance to make a name for himself and put himself in front of a bunch of schools this upcoming spring. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I know Avery will get on to me if I don't mention Ollie. He's a Ollie Tingelhoff guy, but
Ollie's the man though. Really good kid there.
He's another senior, uncommitted Jackson County kid, and he pretty much does it all. He pitches, he plays outfield. He's 88 from the outfield. Max EV of 96.5, max distance of 361, 86 on the mound. I think he was 83, 85 the other day. But talk about another guy that might be a JUCO guy, but next thing you know, he's upper 80s, touching 9s here in the next year or so for Jackson County. So really good day for him as well.
And there's real juice there too. He could put a couple balls deep into the trees in right center. Just really had a fun day. I mean, he's done that the last 2 times we've seen him at Georgia. He's been in the last 2 events we've ran at Foley, and he's put balls deep into the trees both times. So yeah,
it's good stuff.
Impressive looks from Tingelhoff there.
We honestly could have done a whole episode on this group. I keep looking back.
It was good. Frank Knowles is really good. A guy that I talked about a lot. I wrote a tweet on him as well. We saw him back in February at I think it was the East Georgia Rising Stars event. Yeah. Kind of just figuring it out then. The body was kind of wiry. He got into football season this year. Kind of bulked up a little bit. Everything jumped. I think the average EV was up 7. The max EV was up 8 or 9.
Intent was
intent was
really
there.
good.
He's got a lot stronger. He's swinging. He was ready to hit. He was ready to hit. Was ready to carry balls to the pull side. The outfield velo went up. He looked decent on the mound as well. Just a guy who's really going to come into his own and going to really play a factor for this GAC team that lost some seniors and some players off the team this year that can find a role as a freshman. I think there's enough athleticism there. He's a great runner as well. I think he's a 4.40 or 4.640 as well. So the athlete's there. He's got a chance to really blow up. And like I mentioned, he's just kind of scratching the surface. We've seen a ton of growth in 6 months. Who knows what it looks like in another 6 months from now? So really good look from him. And another one in that 29 group.
Yeah, and we talk about it before every event. It's like, guys, coaches want to see progression and the data that they have in the guys. Like, you can click on a profile here, see 2024, see 2025, and seeing progression like this is the name of the game. And one that is really, really going to pop, I think, this spring is Chase Alonzo, a guy that's kind of made a staple for himself as a top 15, top 20 guy in this class for us. Junior future gamer. Brother, you got to see it. Troy chucking it 94, 96 with a hammer, and Chase isn't too far behind him. And he was just cruising, I believe, the other day at Georgia. He was 86, 87, 88 with his big breaking ball. 91 across the infield and nearly put a ball out dead center. Was using wood for BP and consistently rolling mid-90s EVs. So I like the weight he's put on just from a strength perspective. He's shot up a couple inches as well since we last saw him. So he's going to be one hopping over to Raven Gap this year, which luckily we'll get to see at Lake Point. But he's going to be a name to know in this 28 class as we near August 1st.
Yeah, and I really love the demeanor with Alonzo. He's just super laid back. Really kind of doesn't get loud or overly like up or down in the situation. He came into the game on the mound. I think he gave up 2 singles back to back, and then went out there and punched out the next 3 guys. So like, always ready to compete. Like we mentioned the BP was extremely loud with wood, and just it's an extremely advanced operation for this age in this class. So I think he's got a chance to blow up, and it's going to be mid-90s. It's obviously there. It's in the bloodlines. It's coming. And he's already been up to, I think we've seen him up to 89, 90 already. So
yeah, I saw him the Raven County Bremen series. He was up to 91.
So we know it's in the tank, and he's just we're seeing 88 in the fall, where he's just kind of just letting it eat a little bit. We're not really seeing full intent, so I think we got plenty to look forward to with Alonzo.
Yeah, and breezing over a few more of these before we start jumping into Kennesaw. But Maddox Knuckles looked really good. That was our second time seeing him in a showcase setting. He's performed well this fall. He's a 28 to keep an eye on. 89 across the infield. I think he was upper mid 86-ish on the mound. I think he was real close to 87. So he's an Augusta Christian kid that we'll try to get out to see this spring. Tate Broom with a 29 that's made some big jumps. Jaden Bloodworth, a kid that I saw a couple times throughout the spring with Eastside with Trip Swords. He had a really good day. Tristan Arrowwood had a good day as well. I think he was pretty much perfect on the mound. And he's jumping over to Villarica, which is really going to be a really big piece for Villarica for those guys.
Talking about some muscle added, he looked extremely physical and looked good in every facet too. I think he was up to 88 or 87 or 88. I think you mentioned. So sorry about that. But, yeah.
Yep. And then last one, J.D. Floyd. We'll probably get into him later with the 29s, but freshman for Pope. Keep an eye on a left-handed kid that can really hit. Went pretty, what'd he go? Pull side, right center, off the wall, and then got thrown out trying to stretch a triple. But he's a bat for Pope to keep an eye on this spring as well. But yeah, I think that about does it for the campus or for the Georgia campus tour. That was a lot of fun with gameplay. That was something new that we tried. I think it was in and out, or hitting and then infield, outfield work, catching, and then we jumped right into the game. So I did like that format. I think we'll do that. Try to run that back again this year. Trying to lock in Georgia for the summer already too. So we'll get back over there hopefully early June, mid-June, somewhere in there. But yeah, good stuff at Foley Field. And then from there, we headed to Kennesaw for the final stop. I know you had been there, but that was my first time at the field, and awesome spot. Giant center field logo, and we talked about it before.
It's crazy walking over it. Like, when you're, like, walking from center field to home plate, it feels different when you're walking over the logo. Like, I don't know how to describe it, just besides it feels different, but it's really cool to see. Obviously, the biggest logo, center field logo in D1 baseball, I believe was the word I heard.
Yeah, I think that's fact. I think that's Wikipedia fact check it. Yeah, biggest logo there. But yeah, just being there as a graduate assistant back, 3-4 years ago, it's cool to see that place come to fruition. Just I know how hard that staff has worked, and even the coach prior to that, Sansing, when he retired, he was really excited to see that. They said he still hops in time to time. But yeah, it really ended up coming together late. We had a lot of new faces, I felt like, which was awesome for us. We love getting new names, getting to add guys to rankings. But just to kick things off, a guy that we saw, same thing, Alex Ellenbach, Harrison. We're probably going to talk about Harrison a lot on these here, the next few months, but progression.
Good reason.
Yeah, and I talked about it, or I posted about his progression, but 2024, summer of 24, May, Lake Point Summer ID, first event he came to, max EV of 89.4, average EV of 78.5. Fast forward to Kennesaw, and we're going 100.8 and an average of 94. So that's just astronomical numbers at the plate. And the swing's always been there. I really like the swing when we saw it at the Summer ID, but the strength is just completely taken over. And then not to even get into the 60 time, we're going 7:07 in May, and then we just ran a 6.51 in a little over a year later. And
looked every bit of a 6.51 was absolutely floating. Yes.
And we saw him this fall, and we saw him this summer too. We get to see MBS a lot, but we could tell the game was completely transformed. He had a 103.3 bomb for me later in the fall, and it was just all right, Harrison's really might be able to do something this year with what they got on the mound, and he just really impressed. I think from the start, from the 60 to the BP. I think there's a lot there. The swing gets a little more fluid in game, but in BP it's just effortless juice. It looks like he's not even swinging, and he's putting balls out to right field, bouncing over to the Waffle House over there at Kennesaw. But I'm really excited to see him this spring.
I think it was maybe 18 months ago. Just before he gained any weight, I think he was hitting maybe in the 8-hole for MBS, and I sent you a swing and was like, well, kind of like this, there's something here, and it's just been steady progression, and it's going to show out there. Obviously he knows the type of talent that this Harrison team brings in this year. He knew the type of work he was going to have to put in to be an everyday guy for this team. And I think it's there, man. I think he has a chance to really be an impact back. Going to hit in the middle of that order. He's got a chance to hit for power. Got a chance to hit for average. He's going to run. He's going to steal bags. Uncommitted 27. Just still out there. There's a ton of them in this state. bunch of guys that probably shouldn't be stressing out at all. There's so much talent left in this state that's going to continue to sign to good schools. So, and he fits along that group that's going to just really shine this spring.
Yeah, and looking at like grip strength too, pulled a 144 and a 143, which is no small number there.
No.
And then I think he posted like some power cleans or squats or deadlifts or something right after that, and it was like freakish numbers. So kudos to him, guys. Like, keep working hard.
Stuff we love to see,
one.
man. Like, I could care less about like anything else really in the summer. Like making progressions. It's when you take the time off and you have this time to really work on things, and you show up and you make these jumps. It's just awesome to see the type of work that you're putting in, and it makes our job so much easier when schools reach out and you're like, oh, I see the work, I can talk, I can say all these good things, I can write paragraphs about this. It happens every day when somebody's asking, when you put it to fruition and you come to do events, the work is just easy to see.
Yeah, and
I could have worded that better, but good.
Keep it on the Harrison train just for a sec, and then we'll move on. But Cameron Spicer was a new name, or it might be Spiker, I think it's Spicer. Was a new name that we got to see, and then Jake Bruni as well on that on that MBS team with Alex, shortstop. Both of those guys really, really impressed with their days. Bruni's quite the competitor. He was over there with the jumps and 60s trying to edge out Skylar Lee and Ellen Bach, and I think Ellen Bach jumped really well too, which I think Bruni did as well. But fun group to see. Like, this is the type of stuff that we're going to use for our Harrison preview. We're going to get to see Jack Johnson at preseason All-State. We're going to get to see Colin White at Super 60. Hopefully get to see Logan Arnett at preseason All-State as well. So all this video and data that we're collecting, like, it's going to be used obviously internally and with coaches, but from a content perspective too. We're going to try to highlight you guys as much as we can, and that's just kind of an example of what a fall event like this can do for you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, who else we got? Skylar Lee. I'll let you touch on him. He pretty much did everything across the board really, really well, including BP, and is going to be a pretty much a must-sign, uncommitted 27 backstop here this
was it was probably the best look we saw early in the day. One of the first righties to really stand out, put a ball off the top of the building in left field. I think it was over 101 max EV, average 91.4, max distance 395.
Yeah,
it's violent hand speed. I mean, it's a direct path to the ball. The hands really work through the zone. The barrels get a ton of lag in zone, and just gets the front foot down and just gets fully extended every time. Doesn't sell out, but just really knows how to use the barrel through the zone and create leverage to the pull side. And he was just hammering balls. It was just consistent. It was easy. Pop behind the plate as well was consistent, 185 to 195. I think he was
really
up to
good back there.
Yeah, I think he was up to 78 behind the plate. He was 83 from the outfield, 80 from the infield. Kind of just did everything you need them to. This is a North Paulding team that lost a ton of seniors from last year, including some talent behind the plate. He's going to really just slide in there, and I don't think they miss a beat with him back there behind the plate. I think the bat's going to really play. It's going to be him and Wes Mooring kind of leading that charge with the power bats for them. And I think it was huge to see. He's getting a ton of kind of, not, I wouldn't say a ton, but the helium starting to grow with D1 schools with Skylar. So I think,
especially a defensive guy too,
guy like that who can show up. He's been going to camps and showing well. He comes to our event and shows well. It just, everything bodes well to a huge spring for him, and I think that's going to just open a ton of more doors that haven't been open yet for him. And I think it's awesome to see that. And it was just a great day. I mean, he was probably I think I threw a slow-mo swing up there, and it's just as good as it gets from the right side. There's no wasted effort. There's no moving parts. It's good to see.
Yeah, and I think he knew that the hitting had to get better, and not so much better, but stronger. I think he was kind of a defensive guy first, but just looking at this, like we saw him at the Lake Point Summer ID in May of this year, and hitting, he goes 92.9 max EV there. Fast forward to now 101.3. Average EV of 81.7 and then 91.4 the other day, like you mentioned. Max distances are still there. Like, I think the power was there back then, but I think just the consistency of the swings and consistency of the power has really taken an uptick. So I know Coach Richardson over there is super excited about him, and to especially lead this North Paulding team that has a chance to make a little noise with a couple other class guys stepping up.
Yeah, continue to keep rolling here. A guy that we haven't seen a ton of, but we just heard the name. We've seen some video, and that's Zazil Shoop, guy from Trinity Christian who had to sit out last year from transfer from them, a Curacao native. Man, it was loud in every facet on Sunday,
Yep.
man. I think he led the day with an average EV at 94 for 8. Went 105 pull side. Just drove balls into the gaps. Kind of a line drive oriented swing where you can just drive balls into both gaps with ease. Really a ton of strength in a 6 foot, 180 pound frame. Really good actions behind the plate as well. I think he was 188 with I believe 188 and pops max 196. Really threw balls on direct target, 975 with accuracy. Getting ahead of myself here, but it was good to see. He really commanded his bullpens as well. Was really vocal. Was trying to talk. Was trying to just learn the whole day. Was just ready there to compete, and it was just awesome to see. Trinity Christian again, another team that lost some big seniors, including multiple draft picks from that team last year. So I think he's gonna have a chance to really step up and play a big role as an uncommitted junior for them, and I think he's got a chance to be a defensive first guy with massive power potential, and I think that's going to bode well to a ton of schools.
Yeah, and I was talking to him after the event, and I'm like, man, we always knew your name and never played in a tournament at Lake Point, surprisingly.
Yeah.
One of few that probably can say that, but never been in a tournament at Lake Point, so he was like just as excited as we were to get to see him, I think, which is really cool to see. He was kind of hanging out after while he was waiting for his ride, and so awesome kid, a bit raw in a sense, so I think it's one of those that really starts coming together as he gets an upperclassman, gets more reps. More reps, the better. The talent and skills are obviously there, but as we see him get more ABs and more innings behind the dish, I think you could really see him take off this next couple of years. So, yeah, good to see him at that event for sure, and he was one that, like I said, we had circled for a while but never got to see. I know you and Avery both went to Trinity Christian like, hey, is this kid playing?
Yeah,
And had to sit out just because of the transfer stuff, but good to see him there. Who else we got? Graydon Sellers had a really loud round. I think he was the first righty of the day. Just went pull side into the bullpen 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think he went 400 plus. Yeah, 401 max distance on the day for Graydon.
So keep an eye out for him with Georgia or North Gwinnett. He's a guy that we've seen put on some considerable weight here in his last picture that we saw him at a soft scout day back quite some time ago. So look for him for North Gwinnett this spring. I think he could be a big piece for them.
It's just, you think about that. Like a team or a guy like Graydon Sellers probably would play a good bit last year on a lot of teams as a power bat sophomore. But when you have a roster with 17 seniors, it's kind of hard to get in there. So I think a guys like Graydon's one of those perfect examples, really exploding in their junior and senior years, and he's gonna have a chance to get in there and play early for this or play often for this team this spring, and has a chance to really. It's not the biggest park there at North Gwinnett, so we could put some prestigious power numbers up in a short period of time there.
Yeah, that'd be good to see. And a couple more for me. Don McCann, kind of been a household name since I got to see them. What I see, Thomas County Central, St. Pius playoffs when he was a freshman, torching a couple of D1 arms in that series. And he's really kept hitting. He's kept developing. Battled a few injuries over the summer, so we didn't get to see him as much as we would have liked to, just because he was in and out of the Jackets lineup with some knee stuff. But he's back healthy. I know you mentioned it, but it was some of the best swings you've seen him take. And obviously I got to see him a little bit more just over the years in the playoffs and stuff. But yeah, you really liked what you saw from Dom.
Yeah, I mean it's been a line drive oriented swing. A lot of the time we've seen Dom. He really just knows how to get on base and just get hits. He just hits, But just showing the ability to get some leverage in the barrel and really carry balls to the pull side was impressive to me. So I think he put 2 or 3 balls out in his round, which I've seen him hit balls hard, but I've never seen him really drive the ball and carry the ball over the fence. So him growing into that power naturally and not really selling out for it is what I'd love to see with guys, and that's what's happening with Dom. Obviously, the defensive actions were there already. The field of hits, obviously, there. So when the power just starts to come on as the body gets more physical, it's just going to bode well for his future and his profile overall.
Yeah, and sticking on the backstop train, Caden Palmer was awesome behind the dish. Yeah. I think he pulled some of the best pops of the day, like a 188, 19-ish. So guy for Loganville that we got to see this past spring, I think he's going to be a key piece for them as they will find a way to get back to the playoffs somehow, one way or the other. Which they got a strong group coming back in Boland and Caden Howell, Tripp Sapp. Like, they're going to be strong again. They did lose Jordan Johnson, but outside of that, plan on seeing the Red Devils back in the playoffs. But Caden's going to be a big piece. He's really coming to his own at the dish. He's learning how to move, the big, stocky 6'2", 6'3" frame, and he showed it off behind the dish at Kennesaw. So look for him to have a big spring, like we talked about, junior, senior type that's going to go off here the next couple of years.
Yeah, and one last guy I really wanted to talk about. It kind of fits along what they've produced the last few years and just like twitchy, athletic middle infielders, and that's Ryan Burgess Jr., 2028 for Hillgrove. Kind of just set the place on fire in every aspect throughout the day on
Avery
Sunday.
gave us the old, he had seen this kid 1,000 times, which he probably had. He had.
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah.
But it was like, Avery, where's this kid? Like, he's a kid that he's like, yep, I'm always posting him,
Yeah. It just doesn't tell nobody about it, It's one of his midnight posts we just never see. But, man, it looked really good. It's athletic, 5'9", 150 pounds, stepped in the box and was barreling balls consistently to both gaps. I think he averaged over 90.2, max EV 96, was driving balls into the gaps 368 feet, max distance as well. Was the infield actions really was impressive to me. Was throwing balls on frozen ropes across the infield, low 80s, which is first baseman did not have to work at all. Was really just impressive actions. 6'5", 6'5", in the 60 as well. 165 or 156, 156 10-yard split. Kind of floating, gets out of the box with explosion. Jumped 24 inches as well. It just kind of just looks like that Dylan Onro. Excuse me, can't talk right here. Dylan Onro, Donovan Dortch type profile that they're just producing in the middle infield there. Gonna get on the field, gonna get on base, gonna run, gonna play defense. It was just awesome to see from Ryan and just a ton to build on going into the spring where he's gonna have to really fight for some playing time. But I think that the tools and the upside are really high with him.
Yeah, so that's one prime example, which, like I said, Avery did see him. I think Avery had him on the 28s to kind of keep an eye on. But that's a prime example of a guy that comes to a fall event, pops, and the next thing you know, we're watching him we're making an effort to go and see him this spring. Because you can tell, baby face, next thing you know, puts on 10, 15 pounds, and he's running a 6'4" something, and we're seeing EVs into the triple digits, and next thing you know, it's game over. He's 86, 87 across the infield. So that's, like I said, prime example of a good fall find, as we like to call them sometimes. But that just about puts a wrap on the fall campus series. We got Riley Shumpert in there, but we'll save him. We're going to talk about him with the 29 rankings. Really good to see him. But yeah, overall, this was your second full fall.
Second full fall.
I
would say third full fall almost, because I came up a bunch that first fall, but yeah, we'll say second full fall. It was awesome, man. I live for it. I was excited to see each group get bigger as the fall went on. You just never know how the fall is going to go. We're not trying to make you guys come to events, but it's just awesome to see come out there and see the progression from guys and just get out to these nice complexes and these nice campuses. Like we finished with Georgia and Kennesaw. You can't really beat those facilities there. So just awesome to see, man. Awesome to see everybody that came out. I really appreciate the families for taking the time and hanging out. A couple cold days, a couple windy days. But yeah, it was a good, great fall, man.
Yeah, I thought it was really pieced together as well. Finally getting the campus tour series kind of back up and running. We did it for a bit, and then it went away because of the renovations. But like you said, the fall's a tricky time. We get guys that people say don't play the fall. People say play the fall. People say play other sports. At the end of the day, it comes down to what you want to do as an individual player. Trust me, I'm the biggest multi-sport advocate there could be. Play as many as you can. But At the end of the day, if somebody wants to go Friday night football, Saturday, getting ready for hoops, and then Sunday we're coming to the Kennesaw State campus tour, be an athlete. Come on. The numbers don't always have to be there, and we're the first ones to say, we know that. We tell you at every event, especially in the fall. We know you guys aren't in prime shape, but at the end of the day, just knowing the name, seeing the action, seeing the BP, seeing the infield, outfield, all that good stuff just gets us on the radar for the spring season. That wraps up the fall. Like you said, thanks for the families making the stops on the campus tour. We're going to try to bring it back better than ever next year with 5, 6, 7 more stops on it. If we could get that infamous, Georgia Tech on the calendar, I think we complete the ideal fall schedule. But But yeah, we'll get Ramsey. We'll get it figured out eventually.
We're good there.
But moving on from the fall, like we said, we wanted to start doing these with the rankings drops coming up here the next 3 more weeks. We got 28s next week, and then Shooter did something weird. We go 26s, then 27s, or do we go?
Yeah, so with winter meetings the following week, we're gonna do we'll have a mock draft, and we'll have our
which
draft
will be the
board.
26s.
The 26 group. So that group's gonna get updated before the 27s, just for timing purposes. But yeah, not a ton of movement in that group, regardless.
Yeah, no, not a lot of movement in the upper, in the 26s or 27s. Really, we really went heavy on the 29s. Obviously, if you guys saw the drop today, we pretty much released more players than National did, and it's because we've seen them. We're going through seeing these names, and when you click on the profile, oh, they have a profile picture. We've seen these guys.
That's the biggest thing, man. Sorry to cut you off, but you see 100 names, you're like, there's no chance, and we could have probably listed more names. I was going down as we're writing articles for later on in the week, there were sleepers for me at 95, that have a chance to be good players. So,
yeah.
I've seen these guys. We've already seen these guys. Obviously, Avery played a huge part in his late point grind that he's done this summer. Can't thank that enough for what he did there. But yeah, we've seen these players, so it was impressive to rank 100. But it makes us feel good for sure. We did the same thing with the 28s as well. We want to know these younger groups. We want to be prepared for these groups as they start their high school career, and I think we're doing a great start with this group.
Yeah, and we know, you're a freshman in high school. We know a lot can change. We're always evaluating. I promise you, I'm chasing the freshman there, getting in as a varsity guy. We know it's hard to get in as a varsity guy in the state of Georgia. So yeah, don't sweat it. Get your ABs, even if you are a freshman JV, we'll see in the summer. But 28s, not a ton of shakeup in the 28s either, but we did add a handful of names. And just because you thought about it, I always like doing these initial rankings. So I wanted to look back at some of the 25s and 26s because I was there for the initial rankings and just seeing guys. So this one's actually pretty crazy. Obviously this is your guy, but Trevor Condon, when we initially ranked these guys, he came out as number 8. Okay. And then after that, we'd all do, and I think you might have been committed to Miami at that point, honestly.
Yeah. I think he was a young commit.
Yeah, 13, 14. So then, and I'm trying to remember, he takes a little bit of a dip, goes down to 30, 32, 19, 21, and then in June of 24, he's back into the top 10. And fast forward to now, and he's number 1 in the state. Sharman has probably had the cleanest path. We've gone 6, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So Sharman's made a staple. So that one's fun. You see him at 14, it's he hasn't dropped out of the top 5. Couple others, Blake Bryant, 13 to 3 now. Malachi Washington, 17 to 5 now. Keon has been in the top 3 pretty much his entire career. Where's another fun one? Langdon, same way. Gallison's a different one just because he's a reclass. But Dion, pretty much staple in the top 10 since he's been 14. But yeah, I don't know. I like looking back at that stuff. And then as you get going down, you got guys like Reed Gaines that are outside of the top 100. They're top 20 names now. Santos Wade, we didn't even know about until November of 24 when he was 91, and now he's a top 30 name. So fun to look back at that. We're finally getting to be able to do that, look back at these.
And it holds us accountable for if we miss, if we hit, it just, I like that, you want to have some kind of track record of where you rank guys, and be able to talk about it, you don't want to always feel like you're in on every guy at the beginning or you're out on somebody at the beginning. You talk about a guy like Reed Gaines in the hundreds, now going to an ACC school, just put the work in, continue to grind, didn't really pop until, he's a future gamer, had a good future games as well, and then didn't really pop until his summer of his going into his senior year. So it takes time. I mean, the grind is long. It's not a 1 day, it's 1 year effort. So it's a fun process.
Yeah, and we know how rankings are. They're tough to do. We're not going to please everybody, but looking back at this is what makes it rewarding to a sense. We try not to miss guys, but we do hold ourselves accountable if we do if we do miss, and we will miss plenty of times. But
Yeah, we will.
27s are starting to come along a lot. We're getting more and more columns on our sheet of each update. So those are fun to do. That was a really fun class for us. That was kind of your first full circle.
Yeah, I consider those guys like the first real group. But first, like when I was officially a Georgia resident, I started going to practices that spring, and those guys were freshmen. So Caden Borcherding was probably the first freshman I ever got to know going to a practice. So like he's somebody I look towards as somebody that I'm always gonna have an eye on because he's one of those guys that I first been with. And that entire 27 group in general, I'm close with a ton of those guys. I mean, really a lot of the 26s and 28s as well. So I'm happy to be here.
Fun part of it. Well, moving on along, we'll jump into some 29 rankings. Like we said, we're going to have a lot of stuff coming out here in the next couple days. We'll probably take off Thanksgiving, but we'll have tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll have some cool stuff coming out. We want to try to highlight as many of these guys. Because like you said, honestly, like we have no idea where these guys are going to stack up. But like there's guys in the 70s, 90s, like you said, that can mess around and be a top 20 guy after the spring season.
No doubt.
But just touch on a couple on the top 10. Got a lot of junior future gamers in the mix. Always like seeing that. That's obviously a big event for us for this class. And touching too, like a lot of these guys came to Rising Stars preseason All-State, which was in March. So looking at these, like I was just kind of scrolling through and looking at some numbers from March until junior future games, guys like Bates Harrison, Carson Time, Carson Clark, Hudson Purcell. There's a lot of guys that are really making big strides rather quickly. But yeah, touch on a couple top 10 guys for you that really stand out in this initial update.
Yeah, obviously you start at the top with number 1. Xavier Rodriguez has probably been the most advanced 29 we've seen since the first time we saw him. I believe it was last February, came to an event at IVSA and just looked fantastic.
It was the same one with Frank, right?
Same one with Frank. It's just explosive. It was just a loud barrel. You're like, oh, this is what it looks like. 6 foot, 190 pounds, hops behind the plate, sub 2 pops as well. Just really looks the part. She comes out in the summer, has an extremely good summer with USA Prime, ends up making upper class, or goes up a year and plays at Team USA 15U, wins a gold with that team. One of the only 29s, I believe, on the roster for that event. Just really looks the part. Extremely physical lower half, hits for easy power. Going to be a major guy for Archer. Probably going to be the guy for Archer for the next couple of years. He's going to have a chance to really be the guy. And he has that capability. He's continuing to get better. Guy number 2 kind of just fits our profile.
Does it all.
He just kind of fits our profile to a T. What we really look for as gamers. Just like does it all. Will play any position on the diamond. It's gonna hit. Plays up. This is sorry, we don't even mention his name, but Rylan Long, man. One of the multiple Mount Paran 29s that's gonna make an immediate impact for this team. But just kind of plays up, plays everywhere. Can catch, can play outfield, can play third, can play first. Hits for power, hits for average. I mentioned in his rep today, like it's one of the higher hit power combos we see in this class already, and he does it at a high level. Continues to produce. We've really never seen him be bad. Keeps a low heartbeat in all situations. Just kind of has that baby face look that's going to grow up. Reminds me of a lot of like a Kyle Tucker, who's a big leaguer now, obviously, but growing up in Florida, he was somebody that really looked forward. Kyle Tucker and Connor Scott were 2 back-to-back guys from playing high school in Tampa. Kind of old school, gritty guys, no batting gloves, just kind of get after it. And that's what Ryan Long is to me. Just does it all, goes out there, competes, and only getting better. Going to do everything you ask him. It's easy to love this kid, and it's easy to see why he's number 2 in the rankings.
Yeah, it's no joke playing up with a 6'4" program too. Like we know they're each age group is some of the best in the state, but jumping up on that older Cougars team is no joke either. So had an awesome
look
games.
the part too. Just like getting up there, and just like you don't even realize it until like you look at the order and like, oh, Ryland's at third. Like he just fits in. Just kind of does it.
Yeah, and I think that'll be huge for him this spring with Mount Paran, like you said. I think look for him to play early, and honestly, like looking on here, I see like 4 Mount Parans just like jumping out at me. So
him and Shumpert, man. You look at him and Riley Shumpert, a guy that just came to Kennesaw last weekend. We didn't really mention him there because we wanted to wait for this, but I think he comes in at number 6 today, I believe, in the list.
Seven.
Seven,
Yep,
excuse me. I
Yep.
didn't have it pulled up here. But another top 10. Going to be extremely, it's extremely compact swing from the left side. Gets to his power. 86 from the outfield. 6'1", 160 pounds. Only going to get more physical. It's the type of body and profile that just you look at and it's like, oh, this is what projection looks like, and it's just going to continue to grow better. Just kind of just came out there and did it all. Took infield as well. Was 80 across the infield, like I mentioned, 86 from the outfield. Ran well. I think he was a 6.92 runner as well. So it just kind of does it all. Can really just be an immediate impact in that outfield. I think he's somebody you could put in center field as a freshman and just let him figure it out. Like it's going to be a young team in Mount Paran this year. They're going to have to play guys. They're going to have to play guys early. So he's going to be in there and be a center fielder and let him be an impact guy from day one, When you have a guy like Long and Shumpert, and just having that kind of talent into your system as freshmen is huge.
Yeah, put on over 10 pounds since we saw him in March at All-State. So, like we said, progression, and hitting's the same way. I peeked over at his TrackMan hitting stuff too. Like he's going 94 EV at Kennesaw, was 86.7 in March. So yeah, look for him. And then sticking on the Mount Paran train, he's outside of the top 10. But we got to see him at the North Georgia campus tour, and that's R.J. Westbrook. So that's kind of a trio of freshmen that I think you better.
Didn't even realize he was Paran as well.
And he's hooping right now.
Yeah,
he's a big multi-sport basketball guy, so look for him to get in the mix as well. But first guy in the top 10 for me, we got two really pretty electric arms right there at 5 at 6 with Pearson and Poteet. But Hudson Bradford is a guy that I really drew to over the summer. Just the way he hits, like he kept hitting. Kellen Hoffman was on that team as well. When we were watching him, he's down in the 20s. But, talk about phrase hitters hit a lot, and that's what Hudson does. He's the same way. Might catch, might play outfield. He's athletic enough to be able to do a lot of different things for Woodstock, which is another team. I think they lost a decent amount this past spring. So look for him to get in there early as a freshman. But another guy plays very similar to Rylan. Not too high, not too low, but gets after it, whether he's behind the dish or in the outfield. Spins it really well, too, on the mound. He had, I think, pretty crazy. I think he struck out every batter he faced maybe in his JFG outing, it seems like. But yeah, he was one in the top 10 for me that I'm really looking forward to getting out to see this spring.
Yeah, I mean, another guy outside the top 10 for me that I just want to touch on is Ashton Brown. You just mentioned hitters hit, and that's what he does to a T. 6'5".
Didn't get out at JFG's.
But I was just mentioning. I thought I was remembering that. I was like, he didn't get out. I didn't want to speak out of turn there, but it does not get out. Can go get it in center field. 6'5" runner. Going to play early for Sprayberry. We love the kids that are getting on the field early, and we talk about these schools that need this injection of young talent. And with Ashton Brown and Sprayberry, that's a key example. Plays in a tough region, going to get a chance to see quality pitching early, going to have a chance to be trial by fire and get better quickly. Sees good talent now, continues to hit. It's a true hit tool. It's extremely compact from the right side, not going to sell out. Like I mentioned a lot. You love power. We all love the long ball, but not selling out for power and just kind of getting the barrels of the ball and just letting the hands work is something that's impressive for me, especially at a young age. And that's something that Ashton Brown does extremely well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there with him. He was he hit. I think he was on that same Astros team with Hudson and Kellen too. So I think he's really gonna hit too. But jumping back into the top 10, a guy that we're gonna have a spring pick to click type article coming out Wednesday. But Caden Harvey, I think, is gonna be that guy for me. Houston County kid. Coach Hopkins, is about as hard nosed as they come, and when he speaks highly of a player, we listen. He's had the Drew Burses and Isaiah Gallisons of the world the last couple years, and he's putting Harvey right up there in the mix with them. So look for him. Shortstop, got to see him in the Georgia summer event that we had, and really jumped off the page as one of those first guys hitting as well, being in the Rising Stars group. So I really like what he has going. And then right after him is Austin Kitchings, another junior future games guy. And we talk about betting on athletes, it's just the bloodlines run deep. Dad's a coach at Virginia football. Brother was a future gamer for us who's pretty much, I think, going to be the guy for NC State, it seems like. He had a massive fall, so look for him to make some noise with NC State. And then the sister is one of the best track runners. I think she does multiple events, but just committed to Georgia for that. So
Athletes.
It's just athletes. You bet on the athlete, and Austin's one of those that's tearing up the football field right now. And, going to be a guy that probably Avery's going to be the Hebron Christian. Wasn't he the Hebron Christian guy last year?
I went out there as well, but he went out there first. I think he was Hebron first game of the year last year.
Oh, and Dimitri goes absolute nude.
Yabo
right?
Poolside, and we were like,
Yep.
oh, who is this kid? You know, we knew the name then, and like that was just the start of Avery's like immaculate 2025 year he had. But yeah, that was a fun one there. But one last guy we'll touch on in the top 10, a guy I like had the pleasure of writing up this week as well. But Carter Radix, man, kind of just showed up this summer and just like made the biggest impact on our entire staff. Like just came out in the summer, hit everywhere, came to super sophomore, looked extremely good. Ended the fall up to 87 on the mound. I think it's the operation on the mound is what really gets me, man. It's a whippy arm speed. He competes. It's 84, 86, hopping out at 87. It's hard. It's like ride and run, arm side every time. It's going to get on top of guys. Kind of fills it up, can land it really whenever he wants in the zone. He's already 75, 78 on the slider with kind of some gyro movement to it, gets some depth, can kind of miss bats, and he pairs it well with another deep breaking with some tumble changeup at 78, 80 that kind of falls out of that same tunnel as the fastball and just misses bats consistently. Competes, it's whippy arm speed. He kind of reminds me of a young Andrew Breck, a guy we talk about a lot. He's been high for us, future gamer, Georgia Tech commit. You know, like we don't compare guys a ton, but just you see the operations and the stuff, and it's almost a more advanced operation at this age for Radix, so that's what impresses me a ton. And you see him compete in these big situations. I think he was going 5 and 6 innings every start in the fall and getting out 8 to 10 guys striking out 8 to 10 guys every outing. Going to be a part of a really young, talented pitching staff at Wesleyan next year. And he can absolutely.
I was about to say that team's gonna be fun.
Dude, it's gonna be extremely fun. I think every bat is every arm in the rotation is a 27 through 29, but they all can pitch. They all have stuff, and they all can hit a little bit too. Obviously, the young McCullum going to get a chance to be the one there for that team this year. Obviously, the stuff took a big jump last year. And now he's going to have a chance to really go. But Carter and even Grayson Radix, his twin brother, who we have in the top 20 as well, they're going to get a chance to get in there and play early. They both can hit. They both get on base. It's a really good swing from the right side from both of them, and they just showed well all summer long. It's easy to have these guys in the top 20.
Yeah, energy is big for me, for them, just the way they play. Like, they're fun to watch play. And keeping it on the Wesleyan train, Hudson Purcell, who I think on the mound can mess around and be one of the more complete packages in this group. He's already pitching it pretty well now with 3 pitches and up to 84, 85. But just the way he moves, the way he pitches, I think he pitches kind of maturely for this age. So I think that could be another freshman trio that gets in the mix early on the varsity squad for Wesleyan.
And there's real juice there too, man. We saw him.
Oh, he's sneaky.
Absolute dead center when we had him at Dawson County that day, which was like, oh, okay, like that was like deep into the trees. It was a cold day, and the ball just kept carrying. You're like, all right, this is what it looks like here. Yeah, I really like.
Yeah, so I mean, really, like doing the top 40, like we did the graphic for the original rankings of the league. Like this top 40, like I mean, even top 50, like these guys could really slot in, you know, really wherever almost. Like I really like a lot of these guys. Especially in the top 50, this is where I kind of went like, oh, seen him. But a couple other guys down the way that I think you got to keep an eye on. Jack Green for Denmark. We're going to talk about Denmark a lot. I think that they got a chance to really, really do something this year. And I think he could be a sneaky piece, whether it be on the mound. I don't know if he'll crack into the infield this year, just with Nystrom, Jason, and Alex Thompson in there. But I think he could have an impact on the mound for them. So keep an eye on that one. Another one I think that's going to get in as a freshman, that's Liam Search. He was a future gamer at JFG year for us. And outside of Ashton, he put together the most impressive week out of anybody. I think he was nearly the same way, not getting out maybe once or twice. But he's put on some weight. I've got to see him this fall. The actions are already there. And I think you look for a freshman like that will stick at an infield position for you, that you can rely on a varsity squad. And then, you know, whether he slots in, you know, lead off or even 8-9 hole, like he's going to get on base. He's going to get his hits for you, no matter if he's facing, you know, 75 or if he's facing 92. So look for him coming on as a spring pick to click type player for me.
Jeez, there's really just deep down this lineup that's got a chance to play like their first 2 years. Like it's guys like Deuce Green with a chance. You got guys like Reed Williams who's going to be a big piece for Bullock Academy this year. It's really
Brogan
awesome.
Stevens, keep an eye on him at Lowndes, a Lowndes team that needs a piece or two. He's another guy that we saw a lot of that can really hit. Felix Joyner at Maynard Jackson. Avery's going to be sprinting over there to see those guys when the gates open in February.
Jude Hemphill just getting in here now as well. I get a guy we probably will likely see on the JV team this upcoming year just because of the immense depth that team has going forward. But a lot of talent there in the infield can really hit. Showed well in the fall. Just moved in here from Pennsylvania. Obviously has a highly ranked brother as well in the 28 group. But yeah, it's a really talented 29 group, man. And like.
Yeah, it's fun.
You look at it and you're like
Clark for Cambridge.
Carson Clark might have 60 raw power right now. It's like 6'2", 200 pounds, only getting better. And like you look at this group and like you mentioned 1 through 30, one of those guys could be one in a year or two, and you're like, oh, I could have saw that coming. Like it's easy to see. Like that's the type of depth we've had in the state the last few years, especially with this 27, 28 group. The depth is extremely immense, so it's just awesome to see that with another group coming up, and it's not going away. The talent in Georgia is just only getting better and better every year, it feels like. Obviously, the track record in the state speaks for itself, but it's impressive to see it when you're in it. Like I've talked about this when I've been on the show multiple times. Growing up in Florida, you think when you leave Florida, talent's going to maybe dip somewhere else, Like I didn't know much about Georgia baseball before I was in Georgia baseball. Like I knew the talent was here. Obviously, the big names, but the overall depth of talent in every corner of this state is just obvious, and it's in every sport. But in baseball, it's been impressive to see. We get to play 11 months out of the year here, and it really shows. And it's impressive to have been around it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And with this group, like we said, like we're going to start chasing these guys down early. There's going to be guys at your smaller schools that are going to get in that we need to see. There's going to be new names popping up constantly, so keep us posted. Like we said, we always love a good DM. Hey, I earned a spot starting so-and-so game, like come see us. Mentioning the top guys, I didn't want to get out of here without mentioning Poteet and Pearson. Pearson with Walton, maybe he throws, I think he's maybe a guy that Amos wants to get a lot of innings so he can, be primed for a big sophomore, junior, senior year, but look for him to get in there. I think Cherokee Bluff's going to need Poteet this year on the mound, just losing what they lost. So I think he's going to have a shot to get in there, and they're going to be a competitive squad getting back to the state championship. So this is always a fun time of the year, putting this on paper for the first time and then seeing where it goes from there. So keep an eye out for all of you guys. And with that, preseason IDs is a great time for the U2029s and 2028s. Our preseason ID schedule is live. We're kicking things off down south at Camden County. Going to try to get those Savannah guys over there. Glen Academy, Brunswick, Calvary Day. Frederico was in the state championship last year. Like we want to see you guys, so hop over there to Camden County for that one. And then we're coming back up to Mercer for Macon, where we'll get to see hopefully some Houston County guys, your first Presbyterian guys. Who else? Perry,
Westfield.
that whole area. So that's a great time to do that. And then preseason All-State, 10th and 11th. As you guys have seen, we're starting to roll some stuff out for that. Already counting down the days to it. We were just talking about the roster. It's always a lot of fun for us.
150 kids already, I think, combined for the 2 days.
Combined.
So it's starting good there.
It's going quick, but like we said, we always count down the days for that one. It's a big event for us to build our spring list, especially for that 28 group being future games year. So we'll get into the 28s next week. We'll probably go live, Tuesday night maybe for that?
I think they go live Thursday, so yeah, I believe we'll go hop out anytime that week.
So we'll do that for sure. But outside of that, preseason All-State, January 10th, 11th, and then we'll come up to Lake Point the 17th. For the ID there, and then on the 18th we'll be indoors in the morning at IVSA for the East Georgia, and then we'll go over to Woodward Academy for the final Atlanta preseason ID. So super excited for this spring or preseason schedule, and then the spring will be right around the corner, starting before we know it.
Yeah, and just want to touch on one last thing before we get out of here, but high school preview questionnaires are live. They've been up for about 8 days, I think, now. And big shout out to the already 22 we have in so far. So obviously you guys have that link in all your coaches have that link in your email. So just get in there. We would love to write as many previews as we can. It's my favorite time of the year. I enjoy getting in there and just really breaking down these rosters as they start to come together. And what you guys know just helps us more with our spring coverage. So we want to get as many as we can. I think we did, over 90 last spring.
Yeah, almost 100. We don't break 100 this year.
Yeah, I would love to break 100. It's my favorite. Like I mentioned, like writing baseball is what I love to do. So just send us your stuff. We would love to write about you. We want to hear about you. We want to cover every team in the state as much as we can. So yeah, man.
And last thing, I don't know how many guys we have in here. This new system, I can't tell. Like the last one, but if we got a decent amount of guys in here, so giveaway, we have a couple
giveaway is right.
Couple pieces of gear that we want to give away. We'll give the option, okay, to win it. We had 111 subscribers on YouTube starting this episode. The guys that if you go and subscribe after the episode, during the episode, whenever it may be, go subscribe on YouTube, and we will pick a winner from there. We'll give it a couple days. First giveaway we've done, so very loose operation here. So we'll obviously get a notification when you subscribe. So subscribe there, and we'll have the option of a couple new things. Especially check out our new shop. We got this one on here. We got a camo one that I know Ian really loves with the
I got more compliments on that camo hoodie this week than I think any piece of clothing I've worn in months. So
we got some
go
good
out there and
stuff
check that out. Yeah,
there's joggers, shorts, new sweatshirts, a lot of good stuff. So excited about the shop. Hats wise, Miami special here. Not sure if the upside down's still cool or not, but it does fit well. So we're still rocking it. But got 2 larges. Okay, we got green zip up. Okay, logo there, logo on the back.
I didn't even know about the logo on the back. It's kind of a good.
Yeah, it's like a textured too. Or we have tan on tan logo. We have a sweatshirt like this too that's pretty sick. It's like tan on tan as well. Nothing on the back of this one.
And these are extremely comfortable jackets as well.
Yeah, both zip ups.
Yeah.
Okay, larges is what we got. We're not just rolling in the gear, so I can't just pull different sizes from. But large is a good size. So
thankfully,
go subscribe to the YouTube.
6 foot up 200 pounds. So
yeah, go subscribe to the YouTube, and we will pick a winner. From that, we'll DM you. YouTube, we'll figure it out. We'll try to track you down, and we'll announce a winner here in the next day or so. We'll let the subscribers get in there. Let's get to 150. Let's keep ticking these milestones off, and then by the spring, got to be at 200, and we'll get the lives rolling and start getting those numbers up. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like we said, check out the 29 rankings drop. Check out all the fall content we just rolled out. All those event pages are live. Preseason IDs are live. Preseason All-State. You're going to get, a couple more weeks, and we're going to have to start closing some positions out for that. So get in there while you can. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either one of us. We'll take care of you guys as always. But till then, we'll see you guys next week with the 28 rankings update. Subscribe to the YouTube, and we'll give away a hoodie. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
True. Happy Thanksgiving.